Did you know that a lack of transparency is the reason why many teams never reach their full potential? Today, we're going to dive into how boosting transparency can skyrocket your teams and organizational performance. So first of all, what does transparency mean in a team context? So one of the definitions of transparency is that significant aspects of the process must be visible for those who produce the outcome. So how do we create transparency in a team setting? And one cool way to do this is what you see here in the back. It's a backlog, and we want to have a team backlog, and with small pieces of projects, tasks, features, we as a team have to develop. And very important here is to have a clear ranking. So we have a number 1, we have a number 2, and a number 3, and number 4. And we are going to rank according to our business value, whatever that means for our team. And with this team backlog, now the team can pull in the work they are going to work on it, and they are going to pull in from the top, and they are going to have a work backlog where they pull in the highest priority features. And if they want, they can plan small tasks, tiny bits of work they have to accomplish to finish this small project. So this is on team size, but you can already imagine that this is also working for multiple teams and in a big organization, because at the end, the team backlog is always getting filled from all the different projects, initiatives, which are in your organization. And I want to show you that helps me a lot to work with my available time. And it's the 3 pillars of work. And the 3 pillars of work are transparency, inspect, and adapt. So that's what we want to work on. Make things transparent. So knowing exactly what we need to work on and why we need to work on it. And have one person who can say what has to be worked on. And the second one is inspect. So we want to continuously inspect our work to think, how can we improve? How can we become better aligned to the organization, creating more value for the organization? And when we inspect that, we also want to adapt. So this is one way we are going to talk about later on. So what is now the impact of transparency when we know what to work on, why we should work on it, and how we are going to work on it? So one cool thing is it helps with capacity management of the team. For example, your team has a capacity of 25 small topics they can finish in a 2 weeks time. So when now management is pressuring you as a team to finish 100, what can you say? You can say, sorry, our capacity over the last 5-10 weeks has been around 25. So we can finish 25, but you decide what they are going to be, because that helps us to clearly be focused on the biggest outcome your team can have on the organization. And because there's always enough work to do, but we should do those work which creates most outcome for the organization. Now, it really helps with capacity management, but transparency also creates a lot of intrinsic motivation, because now you have the autonomy to do your work, because you're pulling in the work which has the highest impact and you decide how to do it. So you have the autonomy, you have the mastery, because you're using the other 2 pillars, inspect and adapt, to continuously improve, and you have a sense of purpose, because your work is aligned with the goal and the purpose of the organization. And that means we have engaged teams, or your team is engaged. And this is a huge issue, because you probably heard of the Gallup survey, where they ask employees, how engaged are you at work? And shocking numbers since over 20 years since they do the survey is that over 80% are not engaged, or even actively disengaged at work. And in Europe, it's really bad. It's 87% of the people, according to the newest Gallup survey. So with these small tips to make your work transparent, you can really create intrinsic motivated teams as well. Another impact is you're going to build an environment where people like to work because they feel trusted, because they have the transparency to make the best decisions for the organization. And according to Google's project Aristoteles, there's two things that makes high-performance teams in their organization, and they are psychological safety and equal voice. So setting up transparency helps in creating high-performance teams. And that's what the whole channel is about, how to make your teams happy and productive. Transparency also helps a lot with avoiding overwork, because it makes transparent, are we really working on the things we should work? Because according to one study from Scrum Inc., they are going into companies and they see that 75% of the work should not be done, because either the work is against the purpose or goals of the organization, or the end customers who are going to use the work we are producing is rarely or not using those work bites at all. So that leaves us with 25% of work where we really should focus on, and that's where the team backlog really helps, because it shows only the things which are really important for the organization. So overwork is not happening anymore, and you and your team can work on a sustainable pace. And having a sustainable pace helps a lot with going around the topic of burnout or having high fluctuation, and retention rate should go up. So people are staying much longer in your team because they feel loyal, they feel valued, they can work in a sustainable pace and in an environment where they create high value for the team and for the organization. And transparency also helps with creating better alignment to the goals of the organization, so the team doesn't have to act in crazy mode all the time and knows that it pulls in the work with the highest impact for the team and the organization. So talking about crazy mode, if you enjoyed the video so far, please have a look on my other video where I talk about how to get out of crazy mode with your team. And now I wish you an enjoyable and productive time. Always remember, you are awesome. Thank you for joining in, and see you in my next video. Bye.